The Man on the Tour, the last part of my private diary, takes my story up to October 18th. This was when the strange events started moving quickly towards a terrible ending. I remember these days clearly and can tell them without my notes. I begin with two important facts I learned. First, Mrs. C. Laura Lyons from Coombe Tracy had written to Sir Charles Baskerville. She made a meeting with him at the exact place and time he died. Second, the man hiding on the moor lived in the stone huts on the hillside. With these facts, I felt I could find out more. I did not have a chance to tell Sir Henry about Mrs. Sir Henry Lyons the night before, because Dr. Mortimer stayed late playing cards with him. At breakfast, I told Sir Henry and asked if he wanted to come with me to Coombe Tracy. At first, he was eager, but then we agreed it was better if I went alone. A formal visit might give less information, so I left Sir Henry and started my new mission. When I reached Coombe Tracy, I told Perkins to take care of the horses and asked where I could find Mrs. Lyons. It was easy to find her home. It was central and nice. A maid showed me to the sitting room. A lady was sitting at a typewriter. She stood up and smiled, but her face changed when she saw I was a stranger. She sat down and asked why I came. Lyons was very beautiful. Her eyes and hair were the same rich hazel color. Her cheeks were freckled but had a healthy pink color. At first, I admired her. Then I saw something was wrong. Her face showed a little hardness and her lips moved loosely. But these thoughts came later. At that moment, I only noticed she was very pretty and asked me why I was there. I realized my mission was delicate. I said, "I know your father." It was a poor way to start, and she showed that she didn't like it. She said, "I have nothing to do with my father. I owe him nothing. His friends are not mine. I came to ask about Sir Charles Baskerville." Her freckles came out more. "I owe much to his kindness. If I can live, it is because he helped me." I asked, "Did you write letters to him?" She looked angry and asked, "Why do you ask these questions?" I said, "To avoid a public scandal." After a moment, she said boldly, "I will answer." "What do you want to know?" I asked. "Did you write to Sir Charles?" She said, "Yes, once or twice." "Once or twice when he came to Coombe Tracy." "How did he know enough to help you?" she said. "Some men knew my story and helped. One was Mr. Stapleton, a friend of Sir Charles. He told Sir Charles about me. I knew Sir Charles trusted Stapleton, so this was true." I asked, "Did you ever ask Sir Charles to meet you?" She became angry again. I said, "Did you ask him to meet on the day he died?" Her face changed. She could not say no, but I saw it. "Are you sure?" It said, "Please, please, as you are a gentleman, burn this letter." She said, "Is there no such thing as a gentleman?" Sir Charles did burn the letter, but sometimes you can still read burned letters. "You admit you wrote it?" she cried. "Yes, I did." "Why hide it?" "Because I just learned he would leave for London the next day and might be gone for months. I could not meet earlier." "Not the house? Do you think a woman would go alone to a man's house so late? What happened when you went?" "I never went." "Mrs. Lyons, I swear I never went." "That is true." Again and again I asked Mrs. Lyons questions, but I could never get her to say more. I said, "Mrs. Lyons, you are taking a big risk by not telling everything you know clearly. If I have to call the police, you will see how serious this is. If you are innocent, why did you first deny writing to Sir Charles on that day?" she answered. "I was afraid people might think badly of me, and I wanted to avoid a scandal." "Why did you want Sir Charles to destroy your letter so much? If you read the letter, you would understand." "I only read the last part. You quoted some of it. I quoted the postscript. The letter was burned, and not all was clear." I will tell you. The law is on his side, and every day I fear he will force me to live with him. When I wrote to Sir Charles, I had learned there was a chance to be free if I could pay some costs. It meant everything to me. Peace, happiness, respect. I knew Sir Charles was generous, so I hoped if he heard from me, he would help. Then why didn't you go to meet him? Because I got help from someone else before the meeting. Then why didn't you write to Sir Charles and tell him? I would have, if I hadn't seen in the paper that he died the next day. Her story made sense, and I could not find a reason to doubt it. I just had to check if she really had started divorce proceedings about that time. It was unlikely she would say she did not visit Baskerville Hall if she really had, because that would be hard to hide. She would have to be trapped there and come back late at night. That could not be a secret. So she was probably telling the truth, or at least part of it. I left feeling confused and sad. Again, I had hit a dead end. Every time I tried to get closer to the truth, something stopped me. But the more I thought about her face and behavior, the more I felt she was hiding something. Why did she go so pale? Why did she refuse to admit things until forced? Why was she so quiet after the tragedy? Her explanation could not be as innocent as she said. For now, I could not go further with her story. I had to turn back to the other clue, the man in the stone huts on the moor. That was a vague lead. I saw many old huts on the hills as I drove back. Barrymore only said the stranger lived in one of these empty huts, but there were hundreds all over the moor. I had my own experience to guide me, since I saw the man on the Black Tor summit. That place should be the center of my search. From there, I would check every hut until I found the right one. If the man was inside, I would find out who he was and why he had been following us so long. He might hide in a crowd in London, but it would be hard to escape on the lonely moor. If I found the hut empty, I would wait there however long it took until he came back. Holmes had failed to find him in London. It would be my success if I could catch him here. Luck was against us many times before, but now it came to help. The lucky messenger was Mr. Frankland, standing outside his garden gate with a red face and grey beard. "Good day, Dr. Watson," he said cheerfully. "Watson, you should rest your horses and come in for a glass of wine. I have good news." I did not like him after hearing how he treated his daughter, but I wanted to send my driver home, and this was a good chance. I got down and sent a message to Sir Henry that I would walk over for dinner. Then I followed Frankland into his dining room. "It's a great day for me, one of the best in my life," he said, laughing. "I won a double victory. I showed the rich landowners that law is law, and I'm not afraid to use it. I won the right for people to cross Old Middleton's Park, right across his front door. What do you think of that? We will teach these rich men they cannot do whatever they want. I also stopped the Fernworthy people from picnicking in the woods. They thought property didn't matter and could come with their papers and bottles. Both cases went my way. I haven't had such a day since my case against Sir John Morland, who shot on his own land." "How did you do that?" I asked. "Look it up, Franklin v. Morland, Court of Queen's Bench. It cost me £200, but I won. Did it help you?" "No, I did it for public duty, not for myself. I know the Fernworthy people will hate me tonight. I told the police to stop their bad behavior. The local police are a disgrace and don't protect me. My case will make the public notice. I told them they would regret how they treat me, and it already happened." "How?" The old man smiled. "Because I could tell them what they want to know. But I will never help those villains. I wanted to stop his talking, but now I wanted to hear more. I knew that showing interest was the best way to make him keep talking." "Some poaching case?" I said without much interest. "Ha! What about the convict on the moor?" I was surprised. "Do you know where he is?" Maybe not exactly, but I am sure I could help catch him. Have you ever thought that to catch him, you need to find where he gets his food? He was getting close to the truth. I asked Mrs. Soul. Lyons, many questions, but I could not learn more. I said, Mrs. You must tell the whole truth. If I call the police, you will be in trouble. If you are innocent, why did you first say you did not write to Sir Charles on that date? She answered. I was afraid people would think badly of me. I did not want a scandal, I asked. Why did you want Sir Charles to burn your letter? She said. If you read the letter, you would understand. I said, I only read the last part. The letter was burned and hard to read. Tell me again why you wanted Sir Charles to destroy it. She said, It is a private matter. I said, That is why you should avoid public questions. She said, I will tell you. I made a bad marriage and regret it. My husband is cruel and I want to leave him. The law is on his side, so I fear I must live with him again. When I wrote to Sir Charles, I hoped he could help me if he knew my story. Then why did you not tell Sir Charles? She said. Because I saw in the newspaper that Sir Charles died. Her story made sense, and my questions could not break it. I needed to check if she had started divorce papers at that time. She would not lie about going to Baskerville Hall because it was hard to hide such a visit. So she was likely telling the truth or part of it. I was confused and sad. I could not find the answer, but I felt she was hiding something. Why did she look so pale? Why did she not want to say more? Why was she quiet at the time of the tragedy? It seemed there was more than she said, for now I had to look somewhere else, at the old stone huts on the moor. This was a vague clue. I saw many old huts on hills when I drove back. Barrymore said the stranger lived in one of them. There were many huts all over the moor, but I had a better idea, because I saw the man on the Black Tor Hill. That should be the center of my search. I would check each hut until I found the right one. If the man was inside, I would find out who he was and why he followed us. He might hide in the city, but not on the lonely moor. If the hut was empty, I would wait until he returned. Holmes missed him in London. It would be a big success to find him here. We had bad luck so far, but now luck came to help. The good news came from Mr. Bonquin. He stood outside his garden, smiling and cheerful. Hello, Doctor. Watson, he said happily. You should rest your horses and come in for wine. But I wanted to send Perkins and the carriage home. I got off and sent a message to Sir Henry. Then I followed Frankland inside. This is a great day for me, he said, laughing. I have done two important things. I won a court case that gives the public rights in Old Middleton's Park. Now the rich people cannot ignore the rights of others. I also closed the wood where people from Fernworthy had picnics. They thought the land was free and they could come with papers and bottles. Both cases were won by me. I had a good day. Better than when I won against Sir John Morland for shooting in his own land. How did you do that? I asked. Look in the law books. Frankland v. Morland. It cost me £200, but I won. Did it help you? Not at all. Not at all. I have no personal interest. I just want to help the public. I think the Fernworthy people will be angry at me and might burn my picture tonight. I told the police to stop these bad acts. The local police are bad and did not protect me. The next case, Frankland G. Regina, will show the public the problem. He smiled wisely. I know things they want to know, but I will not help bad people. I wanted to leave his talk, but I also wanted to hear more. I knew he liked to talk if I showed interest. Is it about poaching? I asked casually. No, it is more serious. What about the prisoner on the moor? I was surprised. Do you know where he is? Not exactly, but I can help the police find him. Have you thought about catching him by finding where he gets his food? Truth. Truth. How do you know he is on the moor? Because I saw the man who brings him food. I worried for Barrymore. It was bad to be under this old man's watch. But then he said something that made me feel better. You will be surprised, but a child brings his food, said Franklin. I watch him every day with my telescope on the roof. The boy walks the same path at the same time and goes to the convict. This was lucky news. But I tried not to show interest. A child. Barrymore said a boy brought food to the stranger. Franklin found the boy, not the convict. If I learned from Franklin, it would help me a lot. But I acted doubtful and careless. I think it is more likely a shepherd's son bringing his father's food, I said. Franklin was angry. His eyes looked fierce, and his gray beard stood up like an angry cat's fur. Look at that black tor hill. Now look at the small hill with thorn bushes. It is very rocky. Would a shepherd stand there? Your idea is very silly, I said quietly. I spoke without knowing everything. He liked that answer and told me more. I am sure I am right. I saw the boy many times with his bundle, sometimes twice a day. But wait, Dr. Watson, do you see something moving on that hill? I looked and saw a small dark spot far away on the green-gray hill. Come quickly, Franklin shouted, running upstairs. Look yourself and decide. The telescope was big and on a stand. Franklin looked through it and smiled happily, walking slowly up the hill. At the top, I saw a strange, dirty man briefly against the blue sky. He looked around carefully and then went over the hill. See? Am I right? Yes, there is a boy doing a secret job. Everyone can guess what job, even the police. But I will say nothing, and you must keep quiet too. Doctor, not a word. Okay. When the truth comes out, people will be angry. I will not help the police. They could have burned me, not just my picture, at the stake. You are not leaving yet. Come and drink with me to celebrate. I said no, and stopped him from walking home with me. I waited until he watched me, and then went across the moor to the rocky hill where the boy disappeared. Everything was going well, and I promised myself to work hard and not lose this chance. The sun was low when I reached the hilltop. One side was green and gold, the other was gray with shadows. A haze covered the far sky with strange shapes of hills. It was very quiet and lonely. A big gray bird flew high. It felt like I was the only person there. The boy was not there. Below, in a valley, I saw a circle of old stone huts. One had enough roof to protect from rain. My heart jumped. This must be where the stranger lived. I was near his secret home. I walked carefully like a hunter near a butterfly. The place looked like someone lived there. A small path led to the broken door. It was quiet inside. Buzz, the stranger might be there or outside on the moor. My heart was excited. I put away my cigarette and held my revolver tightly. I looked inside. The place was empty, but signs showed the man lived there. Blankets were on a stone slab, fire ashes in a simple fireplace, cooking tools, and a bucket with water nearby. Empty cans showed someone stayed for some time. As my eyes adjusted, I saw a cup-and-a-half full bottle of spirits in the corner. On it was a small cloth bundle, the same I saw on the boy's shoulder through the telescope. It had bread, canned tongue, and 2 cans of peaches. Under the bundle was a paper with writing. I read it. Dr. Stocktor, Watson has gone to Coombe Tracy. I stood with the paper thinking. It was me, not Sir Henry, who the stranger followed. The man did not follow me himself, but sent the boy to watch me. Maybe every step I took on the moor was watched and reported. It felt like a fine, invisible net around us. I looked for more papers but found none. I found no clue about the man's character or plans, except he lived simply and cared little for comfort. The roof was broken, so he must be very strong to stay there in bad weather. Was he our enemy or a secret protector? I decided not to leave until I knew. Outside, the sun was setting, and the sky was red and gold, its colors reflected in pools in the Grimpen mire. I saw two towers of Baskerville Hall, smoke from Grimpen village, and the Stapletons' house behind a hill. Everything looked peaceful, but I felt no peace. I felt fear and nervousness from what was coming. I waited in the dark hut with a firm mind. Then I heard footsteps. They came closer, stepping on stones. I moved to a dark corner and got my pistol ready. There was a long pause, then footsteps and a shadow at the door. "It is a lovely evening, my dear Watson," said a familiar voice. "I think you will be more comfortable outside than inside."